Hi everyone, I'm Bonnie from Really Reasonable Ribbon and Make Time to Craft, and today I'm going to share a quick video about some different ways to quickly cut the ribbon squares that are needed to make the beautiful Kanzashi flowers that we've been talking about. Clearly, cutting the ribbon squares is not the fun part of this activity, but depending on how many flowers you're going to make, there are some different options for cutting the squares. For a beginner just starting out, the obvious method would be cutting the squares with scissors. You can do this by marking the edges of the ribbon at the 1.5 inch mark. Quickly, you will not see these marks once you cut and use the pieces. So that would probably be your fastest and easiest method. Another option, if you don't want to mark the squares, would be to just fold the edges over and use the where they meet as the guideline of where to cut. And you know, everybody has scissors at hand that you can use. The issue with this method is you then have to decide whether you want to seal the edges or just work with the raw edges. As I discussed in the first video, there really is no need to seal the edges at this time because they will all get sealed as you create the petals, but you will find that you're going to have the edges fraying, which is kind of distracting when you're making it, and when you're sealing the edges it just kind of is messy, and I prefer to have sealed edges. Push this stuff to the side. Another option, if you happen to have the tools already, if you're a quilter, if you have a rotary cutter and a cutting mat like the one you see here and a ruler, you can easily and quickly cut the pieces that way as well. And you can even, if you really want to get going, just line up multiple rows and then you're cutting a bunch of pieces at the same time. So I prefer this over the scissors if you happen to already have the tools. If not, scissors still work. And if you feel like you're going to be doing a lot of Kanzashi flowers and you want to have a lot of squares ready for when you want to create the flowers, this is the best method that I have found. Cutting them with a wood burning tool. These wood burning tools are easily found in the large chain craft stores. You could use your coupon. They're really inexpensive. They actually, I think they come with 3 or 4 tips. Of course, I could only find 2 because this is the one that I use all the time, the little wedge end. I don't know if that's showing up. There's like a little flat teardrop tip, and I think there's at least a pointy ended tip, which you might want to try and see if you like it better than the wedge one that I use. I actually had tried this before and didn't have good luck with it, and I came back and gave it another shot. I think the problem the first time is I may not have waited long enough for the tool to get completely heated up, and I got frustrated because it wasn't cutting well. So I have tried this. This is my preferred method. The great thing about this is you're cutting and sealing the edges at the same time. I also have this tempered glass mat. This one came from Tonic Studios, and this glass cutting mat is great because it's got the grids marked on it already, just like my cutting mat that I was using with the rotary cutter, so you know exactly where to cut. When you're just starting out, if you don't want to invest in this tempered glass mat, you could even use just a piece of glass from a picture frame. The only thing that will be lacking, you would have to mark your increments so you know where to cut. This again, I don't think this was very expensive either. I think it was $20 or less. So, and this one you can also do multiple pieces at a time. I've actually done, I think, 5 pretty successfully. I'm not gonna get carried away here because I don't want it to look awkward. And the more you put on there, the harder it is to keep them lined up. And you cannot use a plastic ruler like we did with the rotary cutter because that will melt. You'll need a metal ruler of some sort. So I'm just starting right on the very edge on the first line, and just be very careful because this is a wood burning tool. It is very hot, and you're just going to slowly run it down the edge of the ruler, and then the pieces will just come off. And because the ribbon is polyester and the tool is hot, it will be melting and sealing the edges as you're cutting. And then you just move your ruler 1.5 inches away, and again, slow. You don't want to go too fast because you want to give it the chance to cut, but it cuts like butter. It's fabulous. And another good thing about this is because it's melting it, it's slightly sticking to the mat once I cut the first thing, so it kind of holds the ribbon in place too. So I just do this across the entire board until I'm to the other side, and then I move the ribbon and I line it up again, and I cut some more pieces. And I like to have a stash of these squares so that if I want to sit down and play with a new design, and yes, well, back to that was good. If it doesn't quite cut through, as long as you're holding the ruler, you can go back and finish the cut. So as I was saying, I like to I'll sit and put on, my favorite TV show, and I'll sit here for maybe an hour, and I will just cut squares. And of course, being that I'm demonstrating, it's not going to work really good. And you just keep cutting. And I have a little box that I've made that I cut squares and just line them up by color. And this way, if I want to quickly come over to my work area and mess around with colors and petals and different styles, I have a stash of squares cut already. So thanks so much for stopping by. I hope this video helps you decide which cutting method works best for you, and I hope you're enjoying the Kanzashi lessons. Please be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you'll be notified when I add new videos. Happy crafting!